In this video, we are going to go through the client acceptance part of the engagement in accordance with the CSRS 4200 standard. So we're going to start here under acceptance, going down the left-hand side. Now you will see in the middle, there are 4 different tabs: client acceptance, independence, the engagement letter, and a conclusion. And all of this is required to be completed so that you are in accordance and your documentation is in accordance with the standard. Now, remember that a majority of the work that is done in a compilation engagement is really just inquiry of management. So it is important to document who you spoke to, what their role is, and when you had that discussion with them. Now, CSRS 4200 in paragraph 24 requires us to inquire about who the intended users are and how they are actually intending on using the compiled financial information. And that includes whether that information is intended to be used by a third party. So you can go through here and select the boxes of the corresponding intended users. And then we can describe in the next section how they are going to be using that information. The next section here relates to, and we're going to get back to this intended users and the third party information a little bit further down here. So keep this in mind up here. So you could say lenders. I spelled it right. The next section here is around the basis of accounting that is expected to be used. And we will have an entire video on that basis of accounting. But for now, this is just what is expected. So management may not know at this point, and you may need to help them, which is fine. We'll talk about that again in that next video. There are some examples here for the basis of accounting, and I can show those examples. Now, if one of these is close to what I want to do, I can click on it, and I am going to copy that information up into that basis of accounting. That will allow me then to tailor that as I would like. Now, again, down here, we're going to deal with those third-party users. Now, remember that in accordance with CSRS 4200, in order to be able to perform that engagement, we need the third party to either be able to request additional information from the entity. This typically happens with banks and lenders. So if that's the case, you can say yes, and this is per the banking agreement. Remember that this is in discussions with management. There is no requirement to verify what management is telling us. Now, if you don't think management's telling you the truth, then that would be a client acceptance issue in itself. You could, if they do not have the ability to request additional information, there is the other option that they have agreed with the expected basis of accounting. And if that is the case, then that's fine. We're just going to document that. If we select no to both, you're going to get this warning because you cannot proceed in accordance with this standard unless they then prepare those statements in accordance with the general purpose framework. And I really we do not recommend that you perform compilation engagements in accordance with the general purpose framework, as this may be considered misleading to users. So I'm going to come back up here and just say, yes, they have the ability, because we were dealing with those lenders, they do have the ability to request additional information. I can click the Save button here, or I could click the Next button to get to the next tab. So the next tab deals with independence. Now, you don't need to be independent for a compilation engagement, but you do have to assess whether there are any significant threats to independence. So there could be significant threats to independence where you potentially have you're doing the engagement for a relative or a close friend. And then there could be safeguards that are in place. Now, if there are not, then we will have to add that note to the compilation engagement report, and you can document that note right here, and it will go directly to the engagement report. So just for now, I'm going to say there's no significant threats to independence, and I will click next. The next section is whether the existing engagement letter can be used for the current period engagement. So if I'm going to use that, then I can go and I can select that engagement letter. Now I haven't updated anything, so here I'm going to select no, and I can upload the signed engagement letter here. And then finally I get to the conclusion, and in the conclusion, this is where we are going to sign that we are satisfied that we have met the requirements in CSRS 4200 for client acceptance, and that we can go ahead and perform that engagement, and we want to perform that engagement. So selecting complete, there was some sections that were incomplete that will give me that message, but basically my save was successful. So if I have this error message here, just more of a caution note, I can go back and say, well, where did I not put information in? And so I didn't enter information into here. I think his name was Mr. Wright. And now I have finished all of the 6 sections successfully, and I can move on to being able to perform my engagement.